Hello world, this is Barbie Lee, this is Shake Talk. Yay! Good day, good day. Take a breath. You know, things change quickly, right? I had multiple conversations with people yesterday and things change quickly, like they really do. So what are you going to do about it, right? What are we going to do about it? So hello world, this is Barbie Lee. This is Shake Talk. This is where we have a conversation. I tell you some crazy musings that are going on in my head, and sometimes people jump out and have a conversation with me. And I always accompany my breakfast, or my breakfast accompany my Shake Talks with my breakfast, the best breakfast ever of Isagenix Isoline shakes. And I'm addicted to chocolate mint. So there's many other flavors. I just happen to be addicted to chocolate mint. So the topic of conversation today is things change quickly. And they really do. Like things really, like life just keeps on moving, right? So you watched my Shake Talk yesterday. You heard me kind of ranting about let's say some stuff left behind, okay? And then yesterday I put out to a few people in my network about something that's going on in my world, and I wanted to help somebody. And you know, it was fabulous because some people said yes, they'll help, and some people said no, thank you, I can't. And it was all perfect. And at the same time, I really got this idea of how much things have changed and how quickly things have changed, right? So think about this. November 30th, right? I got on a plane. I went off to Mexico for the winter. It was lovely, right? I was supposed to be there 5 months, and it was great. And then this little thing called a virus showed up in our world, and it showed up. Now, did anybody expect it? No. Did anybody wake up, on New Year's Eve and say, oh, 2020 is the year that's going to be weird? I don't think anybody picked the word weird for their word for 2020. But then as January came in and February, and then by March, everyone's like, whoa, what the heck's going on? That's pretty quick, right? So in the span of, and I remember having conversations with Taylor Ray because she's over in Indonesia. So in the span of like a week, there was this, Mom, I don't know if I should come home, to Mom, I can't come home, because all the flights were canceled. And I'm like, okay, so you're staying in Indonesia. And she's like, I'm glad I am. Like we made the conscious decision. And it's just so quick, right? And as I'm in conversation with people, and so many people are not working. Many are, but many aren't. Some are working from home and have taken reduced hours. Some are relying here in Canada on unemployment, or the CERB, the Canadian something. It's called something. Employment benefit, no, resource benefit, I don't know. Bonus, I don't know. Anyway, so everybody's in a different place, right? And, I know there's some people that I know that in the same household, somebody is still working, they're in the grocery industry, right? They're a grocery clerk, and they're still working. And the other person that lives in their house was in the serving, right? They were in a restaurant, and one's working and one isn't. And the one that isn't working is making more money than the person working. So like her life changed, right? Because she's making more money not working. And I'm like, oh, government, this is what happens. People go, oh, I can make more money not working. Anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But things change quickly. So how adaptable are you to the change? That's the question, right? Things change quickly. So how adaptable are you to the change? Got to tell you, sometimes my shake has the perfect banana, and it's the perfect consistency. And it's like, it just tastes so good. Anyway, hello, good morning, everybody. So how adaptable are you to the change, okay? Now, did we expect a global pandemic? Absolutely not. We did not. Well, I didn't. I don't know if anybody out there planned to be in a global pandemic. But how quickly were you able to adapt to the change? Now, this was a major one. So let's go back a few steps and maybe pick something that might have been a little bit easier to accept, right? Maybe at some point you had to leave high school, right? So what kind of change happened? Now you had 3 years knowing you're going to leave high school. Now some people went on to university and continued on school, and some people started their life, right? Went out and worked or lived in their parents' basement and played video games. Like, I don't know, whatever, whatever happens when people leave high school. So how quickly did you adapt? Well, you had some time to adapt your mind, knowing that at the end of grade 12, things were going to change. So let's say you went to university. Then when you graduated, right, you kind of knew things were going on and things were going to change, right? So then, what did you do then? How did you adapt to that change? So you've already adapted, right? Or, one day you're driving down the street and there's a roadblock because there's construction. Hello, here in Edmonton, have we ever seen construction before? So how quickly did you adapt to that change? So think about all the times, these little times in your life, right? Roadblocks, red lights, there's a train. How many times did you adapt quickly to little things? And then when bigger things happen, like maybe you broke up with somebody, maybe a marriage ended, maybe a parent died, right? Like all these things that are naturally going on in our world and naturally do go on in our world every single day. How are we adapting? Okay? So yesterday, the conversation I had with many people, that's some shake. So I had a conversation with many people yesterday. So I put out a request to some close friends, some people who I actually talk to, like not just my whole Facebook world. And I put out a request, and because I want to help some people financially, and I can't do it all. And I thought, well, if some of my friends wanted to do $10 or $20, it would all pool together and we could do a little bit more. And so I had a lot of friends who said yes, and we put together some money, and I'm going to give it a couple more days. But then I had some friends that said no, and some just said no, thank you, and that's fine. But it was the ones that kind of told me their story. They haven't been working, their bank accounts are in the negative. They don't know what they're going to do. They are looking for a job, and because their job is no longer, or they don't know when they're going to go back to work, or especially people like in these retail and stuff like that, and the serving industry, and that they've really cut back their staff. So unless you were a senior staff, you probably didn't get called back into work, right? And that's what a lot of people are noticing. And so now they find themselves in a position to have to go and find another job. And obviously there's fewer jobs available if businesses are cutting back on staff, right? So there's already that challenge, right? Then there's the challenge of, all these companies that have gone remote, right? And they found out how easy it is to run their business remotely. Well, now maybe they're going to start looking for outside of local help, meaning anybody in the world that has those skills to work remotely for their company. So there's those fears coming up for people as well. So we are still changing, right? Excuse me. We are still changing. So how are you adapting to this change, right? Things change quickly. People maybe thought they were going to go back to work, right? And they're just waiting until it was over, and they kind of sat around and did nothing. Well, now they're realizing, I talked to a lady that she expected that she was going to go back to the grocery store that she was working at, and the grocery store said, we can't hire you back because we've taken whatever percentage of our staff, and you didn't make the list. And she's like, I've worked there for 12 years. And they're like, I'm sorry. If things change, we might bring you back. But if things change, I don't know what's going to change, right? Do you know what I mean? And we don't know when things are going to change. So I said to her, I'm like, what are you doing? Well, I guess I have to find another job. I said, okay, great. What are you doing? How are you finding another job? Because there's a lot of people looking for work. And it's a weird time, right? It's a challenging time. So things change quickly. And my heart kind of broke open yesterday talking to people and listening to people, because for some people this global pandemic and the lockdown didn't really change a lot about their lives. I'm one of them. Okay. Dwayne's still working. I get my income, right? I have a residual income from Isagenix. I work from home anyway, so that didn't really change. What really changed is my ability to do what I normally do, which is go out and meet new customers, right? Go out and help people get started on their programs and meet people in networking events, or people that own spas and stuff like that would be a great business partner for me in my business, and all of that stopped. So that stopped, right? But let's talk financial. The financial piece changed, yes, because I couldn't build my business, but you know what, Dwayne's still working, so there's that positive. And then I talked to people who everything changed. Both them and their husband and a roommate were out of work. And nobody's like, they've got the benefit from the government, but they were already living way beyond their means, which a lot of people do. And I'm not judging. I'm just telling you, I'm not judging. But when things happen, what's going to happen, right? Like how adaptable are you? Right? I read a newspaper article that said about, this entire family, right, had a family business. And they were like, every single person, mom, dad, children, nephews, all lost their job overnight, right? When the government said, you can't run that business, they all lost their job overnight. And I'm like, holy crap, like that's a whole family. Do you know what I mean? And these are the things that we need to start thinking about. And if you haven't thought about yet, you really need to start thinking about. So I'm going to challenge you, right? When things change quickly, and they always do, right? Change is rarely slow going. It's usually something big that shows up, like, I don't know, a global pandemic. So when things change quickly, what are you going to do? Right? I highly recommend network marketing. Highly recommend it. Can't say it enough. I love Isagenix. Isagenix allows me to build a residual income from the comfort of my home, my internet, my networking groups, whatever I go to. But when I have that base, right? When I have that base, I have something to build on. And, when the pandemic hits and they say, you can't do this and you can't do this, I already have a base. And my income comes from a variety of sources because, many people are ordering the Isagenix products. And people are like, I had a conversation because I said to somebody, I said, take a serious look at network marketing. Oh, Barbie Lee, I can't do what you do. I said, I don't want you to do what I do. I'm Barbie Lee, right? I want you to do what you, and I filled in their name, do. I said, you're already out there recommending things that you love. You're posting pictures all the time about the new products you just bought on Amazon. I said, that's the same thing with Isagenix. You just specifically tell people how much you love about it and how much you love. And when they open an account, you get paid. Like, it's really that simple. And a couple $100 a month of food, because we have food. So we're not one of those companies where you have to add on something different, right? Like, I have my shake every morning for breakfast. And I do. So I have my shake, my Ionix, my cleanse every day. That's my business. That's all I need for my business to make my business qualifying. So it's not like there's all this stuff you have to do. I can drink my shakes and I can call some friends and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm feeding my body and I'm feeding my bank account. Want to join me? Like that. I keep it simple, right? So I highly recommend network marketing. If that really isn't for you because you hate people, which I don't know, some people on social media I know really do, because if you saw my post, people just really hate people. Anyway, so find something else. Find something you can do online, remotely for something else that's a second stream of income. But again, you're just going to find another job. So you got to find something that's going to pay you residually, right? And there's quite a few businesses out there that you can find. But at least do something, right? Or start looking how to invest your money. Start looking at how to downsize so that and I'm saying when, because if the world locked itself down once, it's going to do it again. Okay? It was like, just let's make everybody stay home. like I see it happening. I can't see it not happening. Now, will the people be a little more resilient to it? Probably. Okay? But I see it happening. So what are you going to do when things change again? Right? Or, you get that call that says you're not going back to work. What are you going to do? How adaptable are you? It's a really good thing to think about today. Really good thing to think about. Not just today, every day. And if you don't like your results right now, change them. Just change them, right? Call somebody who's doing it. Call me, send me, you can reach me on Facebook. You can see me right now. Hit that little messenger button, say, can we chat? Find somebody who's already doing it and pick their brain. Find out what they're doing, how they're doing it. Don't tell yourself you can't do it because you don't even know what it is. You really don't. So how adaptable are you? God, that's a good shake. Things change quickly. What are you going to do about it? It's a great question. Have a great day.